And hey Zach,
Hi.
are you ready to fight the Moon Lord?
The Moon Lord.
You have
The
to
Lord
fight
of the
him.
Moon.
He literally has eyeballs in his hand. He has eyeballs all over him. You can see his brain, and he looks just like Cthulhu, except for instead of being red and whatnot, it's blue. But it's Cthulhu.
Blue Thulu.
In some way, it's Cthulhu. But funny enough, this fight is not as hard as you may think it is. You beat
Yeah.
him once, you get his shit, you're already stronger than him. And you can just boom, 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 boom. But there are special event bosses that can only be fought through different ways.
Yeah.
There's the Dark Mage, there's the Ogre, there's Betsy, who's a flying fucking dragon. There's the Flying Dutchman. Yes, you fight the fucking Flying Dutchman. You fight Morning Wood, who's literally a tree that can spit out fire.
Bruh.
You can fight the Pump King. I like that name, Pump King.
Dude, I'm assuming like a lot of the stuff in this game are like unintentionally humorous, but fucking terrifying.
You have the Ever Scream, who's literally a pine tree that's come to life. You have Santa and you have Santa NK1.
Wait,
You
Mark
have
one Santa.
well, NK1. That's not MK1. Funny enough. You have the Ice Queen. You have the Martian Saucer. You have the Solar Pillar. Remember the pillars I was mentioning about? This is what
Yeah.
they are. And each of these pillars are for a different class. The Solar Pillar, I believe, is for melee. Nebula is for magic. Vortex is for, I think, range. And Stardust is for summoner.
Yeah. And what is this game, by the way?
This is Terraria.
Terraria. Alright. Damn,
But,
that's.
remember how I mentioned that you fight, like, the Pumpkin and Santa?
Yeah.
That's because there's special events where you can summon a Halloween moon
Ooh.
and fight. You fight like a bunch of like vampires and so much shit during the entire night. And I know I think that's pretty fucking cool.
That is
But
really
then
cool.
you can do that again, but with Christmas you fight a bunch of shit again. But you can get elf outfits. You can get so much, and it's just I think it's cool.
Anything like who. Any creator that goes out of their way to do like Halloween style events, it's cool. It's nice.
You I think it's guaranteed to happen every night if you play the game on the 31st of October.
I'm getting everyone set up in Deltarune right now except Chris. Chris is
But
getting nothing.
sorry, I was sucking on the ice cube.
Yes.
But yeah, Terraria is a strange game. Because I don't
Indeed.
remember what the story for it is. I'm pretty sure you were tasked with stopping a bunch of cultists from bringing back Cthulhu and like the Moon Lord and all that. Or just killing Cthulhu. That's who the Moon Lord is. It looks like Cthulhu. It has like the weird tentacle beard that Cthulhu has and whatnot.
Meanwhile,
And
I'm a Toho fan, and you mentioned a freaking Moon Lord, and I immediately thought of rabbits.
man, I need to figure out what's the fucking story of Terraria. Here's lore.
Have you ever sat down in Toho?
The story was released on May 16th, 2019 as images of inked parchment via the official Terrarium forum. There's 5 pages of lore.
My favorite thing about Toho Dance, characters just don't give a fuck.
Hmm. There was a great war of Cthulhu. What?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I gotta read this. Welcome to the world of Terraria, a land full of mystery and wonder, with much of its destiny left up to the wildest imagination. However, a few legends of old did make their way to our present time, passed down by countless generations of the Order of the Guide. These few scraps of information will serve to help you navigate your journey and overcome the threats lurking in the shadows. This knowledge is now passed on to you, a brave adventurer, with the hope that it will aid in your quest to save our world. In the beginning, the gods established a balanced and guaranteed fairness for all living creatures. This balance was to be of paramount importance, with no cost too great in seeking its fulfillment. Eons have passed since the gods first began testing the complexities of life in their fairness experiment. In the process, countless living worlds were created that now exist within the Terraria universe. Each world of Terraria is a sentient being that knows all that goes on and can feel the thoughts of all living creatures, with their sole purpose being ensure that the desired balance is maintained, often violently so.
Guys.
The worlds utilize many defense mechanisms to ensure the balance is upheld at all costs. Some of them are known as the Hollow, Corruption, and Crimson. And then it has stories about them. We have the Crimson. The Crimson is a single emergent living being connected directly to each world, sharing a hive mind and solely focused on restoring balance at all costs. Thousands of worlds before the one you stand on now have been absorbed by this being. Many misguided people have made horrific mistakes of raising the Crimson to the level of a deity, conducting human sacrifices to it placate the monstrosity or seek its favor. The Crimson gladly consumes these bodies, becoming one with them and producing terrifying beings who lose the ability to feel and blindly follow the hype. The Corruption. This is the Corruption. The Corruption is a cancer caused by the sins of those living in the worlds of Terraria. The vile actions and thoughts present in all beings feed the growth of corruption as it spreads relentlessly across each world. Corruption knows nothing else but to consume everything it touches, leaving behind terrible creatures of hate that exist for the sole reason to cause pain and punishment for those unearned pleasure experienced for the unearned pleasure experienced by living things. After the corruption restores life balance to life, it destroys it with the goal of turning the world into a desolate abyss void of life. And then we have the Hollow. The Hollow, on the other hand, is an entirely different nature. Then each world is a guardian who serves the world's master and core. Once this creature is destroyed, the world will release the ancient spirits of light and dark to expedite the process of finding a new guardian. It is here when the Hollow is created and functions to overcompensate as an overcompensation of purity taken to the absolute extreme. The Hollow fears threats that would attempt to violate the critical balance of life, killing anything in its path, as though it were treating an infection. Whether friend or foe or neutral party, ultimately the Hollow serves to push back against never-ceasing encroachment of control. And then you have the story of your world. It is against the backdrop of this precious balance of life, desolation and pain, that the great battles of legend and adventure of our time take place. In the blind spot of the universe, there exists a planet of unprecedented potential. Your world. Your story begins with Cthulhu, a creature of measurable power and unknown origin, who arrived long ago with its seeming sole purpose to rain destruction on and have dominion over all sentient life that flourishes on your world. None could stand against the advances of Cthulhu. The very fabric of Terraria itself seemed to be at the precipice of doom. At last, when all hope seemed lost, the ancient race of Dryads arose to wage war against Cthulhu.
And that is where we.
The Dryads, with their unparalleled connection to the planet, were Terraria's truly last hope, as they joined together to save all life from annihilation.
Yeesh.
The Dryads were, alas, unable to kill Cthulhu. However, the Dryads' combined power were able to cripple Cthulhu's ability to wreak further damage by ripping out Cthulhu's eyes, part of its skeleton, and chunks of its brain. Ultimately, the substantial damage forced Cthulhu to redirect to the dark side of the moon, where it dwells to this day, gathering strength for another attempt at total conquest. As for the Dryas, sadly, all but a single member perished, and the sole survivor has not been seen for many, many years. You want to hear about the lunatic cult? Because this is the last part.
Yes, you're just dumping all this Terraria lore on me, and I'm just absorbing it. I'm just one with the ride right now.
I didn't even know about any of this. This is me figuring this out for the first time as well. Much time has passed since the Great War of Cthulhu. However, rumors tell of a lunatic cult led by a fanatical zealot that is methodically seeking to revive Cthulhu to its former power and bring about the end of the world. As a part of
Yeah,
these
it makes sense
efforts,
for a lunatic cult.
as a part of these efforts, a renowned genius known simply as the Mechanic has been kidnapped and forced to rebuild the parts needed to make Cthulhu whole again. That's why it had
That's why the
Skeletron.
towers.
Skeletron is the ripped out skeleton of Cthulhu.
Oh God.
And that's why Skeletron Prime, the twins, and the Eater of Worlds are all part. No, and the I forget what it's called for the robot thing. I don't know, but that's why they were all mechanic because they were made to be a part of Cthulhu to help revive it.
Yay, lore, lore.
Hushed whispers tell of the result of these experiments. Horrible mechanical simulacrums of Cthulhu's organs. The mechanic has nearly completed her work, only needing to finish the mechanical brain to restore Cthulhu to its full destructive power. Passing travelers hear constructions and screams emanating from the dungeon, an evil demonic fortress of death in which the mechanic is supposedly held prisoner as she conducts her work. Many across the area have fallen under the possession of the cult, including the benevolent old man who oversees the dungeon, a once thriving city full of life until a curse forced all of its inhabitants to go mad, living beyond the point where their bodies rotted away and they would become mindless undead serpents of evil. Without some intervention, some force to stem this tide, some hero to save the day, Terraria's doom is nigh at hand. This brings us to our adventure. It begins with you in our humble beginnings to show and shown your path by the faithful, mysterious guide. As this world's champion, you will experience communications from the world to help protect your mission. The world has brought you this specific location at this specific time. Will you stand up and fight for Terraria against the growing shadows of impending doom?
No.
This is this is all official lore.
Okay. And like you're investing yourself into the lore like even more now because you know like